Howdy everyone! Today I'm going to make a painting for my mom. Hi Mom! I tried to make this painting once before. It didn't quite work the way I wanted, so I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to reuse the canvas I did it on the first time, so you'll get to see that in a moment when I bring it over. Basically what we've got here is it's going to be a base of blue, light blue, which I don't only do light blue bases, I know our logo was too. It's going to be a base of light blue, and then it's going to have a light pink, a light yellow, a light purple, silver for a little excitement, and then this white is specifically here for what we're going to call swiping, and I'll show you that obviously when I get to it. But it's got a special additive, so all of these were mixed with Floetrol and gloss pouring medium like the last video. This one was mixed with this Australian Floetrol. It's got a special additive in it, I use that word a lot, but it's got a special ingredient, if you will, in it that causes this really awesome lacing and like cells and stuff you'll see when I do it, but you'll swipe through kind of like what I did with mixing the other base, but we'll get to that in a moment. This color specifically that I'm using is it's a very weird name, but rose basically. Rose, Amsterdam Naples yellow, deep yellow, Artist Loft light violet, Artist Loft silver, Artist Loft light blue, and then I believe it's titanium white, titanium white. It's just the basic white. Now I'm using different brands, so most likely with the different brands we'll see a little bit more reaction between the paints, so we might see a couple more cells, and like I pointed those out in the last video, but you'll see a little bit more action. It'll be a little bit more exciting. Not a lot, just you'll see a little bit. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. With the magic of editing, we're going to switch and I'll be standing. Alright, so these paints I mixed a little bit thicker than the last time. I forgot to show you that concept, but the way you can tell like how thick they are, so if you're doing something like the blowing concept that I did last time, but on a bigger scale, you want them a little runnier. If you just stir it up a little and then take a bit and drop it off, you can see those little mounds that it's making on the paint. That tells you basically how thick it is. This is like maybe medium thickness, which is what I want because I want less movement from what I'm doing of the paint by itself. I want to be able to control it more. And all of my paint is essentially the same thickness. It makes for the combination of them moving around to be a little easier. Now you can see this canvas has already got stuff on it, right? It's not very nice looking because it didn't work out what I wanted, but I didn't throw the canvas away because you can reuse them. All you need to do, if you've painted it, give it a quick little sand to give it a little texture again for the paint to grab onto it, the new paint that you're going to do, and then just paint right over. So as you can see twice now, mistakes are common, at least for me, and I just roll with the punches and make what I can. Alright, so I'm going to pour this base on. Okay, and I'm going to do what I did last time, which is stretch this out just a little bit, kind of work it around, get it close to the edge. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a bunch of air bubbles which we're going to pop with the torch in a moment, but you can see them popping on their own. Now, because this was just freshly made, I need to torch it or else all of these little air bubbles, I don't know if you can see them, but all these little air bubbles will cause problems like I mentioned in the last video. So, it's already popping. You can see those little holes pop up, those are all those air bubbles. Alright, so now I've got my base poured, exactly what I want. That's a bubble that didn't want to pop. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the next colors. So as you can see, I've got my colors set up over here in the order that I want. I'm going to actually change them for each section that I'm doing. You'll see as I go along. But we're going to start with our purple, and we're going to put a line right here. Going to put a next one right next to it. I'm putting these back in order so that it's easy for me to transition to the next corner, because I'm doing, as you saw before, there's 4 corners that I'm adding these colors to, but they're going to be in different orders. Alright, so now I want pink to be the first color. So growing up, these colors remind me of Easter. So growing up with my folks, Easter was my favorite holiday. These are my mom's favorite colors, but this is Easter to me. And I always loved finding eggs, like hunting for the eggs. Or eggs? I say it with an accent, and Adrian makes fun of me. But anyway, so I used to make my parents re-hide them, and as wonderful as they are, they would indulge me because it was, innocent fun. But as I got older, I started hiding eggs for them, putting little prizes in it, like $1, or my dad's favorite candy was Dove chocolates. My mom loves Snickers, so I would do that, and it still to this day brings me joy to basically play hide and seek with objects. So if you ever meet me, hide something and tell me to go find it. It's different than a scavenger hunt, although I do like making those for people. If you can see, I'm changing the order. I mean, it's the same general order, but it's different for what comes first. And that's because when I swipe, it's going to be a different color that gets drug through to kind of create this webbing or lacing that you'll see in a moment. So I wanted it to be not the exact same on all corners. I wanted them to each be their own little thing. And then once I get my some artists would say, whoops. My mom's always loved pastel colors, and I don't fully get it. I feel like it's literally like color light, but I feel like it's missing something. I always want it to be dark, deep color. And so I always found my mom weird for liking pastel, but she is her own woman, so she gets to be how she gets to be. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take... but that's okay. I'm going to take my palette knife and take a little bit of this white with that Australian Floetrol and just pour it on here. I'm not going to pour it over this paint because I don't want to drip, but I'm going to just pour it on this palette knife and get it spread all around. You don't need a lot. And then you just take the palette knife and ever so gently set it on top of the back color. Don't set it on your base because it'll drag your base through, and you just want to drag the color. And have it at a very slight angle and just gently pull it through. And you can see it creates those lacing. This lacing right here, this webbing or cells or however you want to call it. And it's very pretty. You just need to clean off your palette knife after every swipe so you don't drag other colors. As you saw, I kind of swiped the palette knife off on the side of the canvas because it's gonna basically roll off when I stretch it. Now the reason I'm being so stingy, if you will, with the white. One, you don't want a lot because it'll leave big puddles. This will go away, but it'll leave big puddles of white, and that's not what we're after. But also, this Australian Floetrol is really expensive, and you just get a teeny tiny bottle of it. It's probably 4 times as expensive as the regular Floetrol, and you get a gallon of the regular Floetrol. This you get like, I don't know, a quart. I don't know the exact size. A liter. Okay, so I'm done with the swipes. And I'm going to stretch this out and put on my handy dandy gloves. This part is where I struggled last time, so fingers crossed. I mean, if you're watching this, it already happened, so fingers crossed won't do much, but do it anyways. Maybe you'll be on the edge of your seat. So the plan is to kind of try and make these even. So I'm going to stretch it one way, find out where the paint is. The paint is more on this side. I could tell by moving it like where it ran the most. So you see it's not moving up here. So it means the paint isn't up there. It's moving right here. So it's more in the center down in this corner. So I'm going to slowly circle it around so that it doesn't wipe everything off. And it continues to stretch the cells and the lacing out. And let it run off a little bit at a time. So this didn't do quite what I wanted, and I know why. Because of the direction I swiped. But what I did is I practiced last night just to see if I could make this work, and this is what I was after. This view this like exact style or this painting. So I'll show you what I did for the center. I'll show you on this other one that didn't work out, but I'll show you what I did for the center and what the end goal was. This style has just been hard for me to nail down. Okay, so to get what I wanted in the center, what I'm going to do is make circles and stack them on top of each other. I'm going to make slightly smaller circles as I stack. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this white so that I can get everything that's gone, like this lacing, I can get a little bit of that. So I'm going to put some in the center, a little dot, and then I'm going to kind of put some lines. I'm trying to make one. Okay. To add a little bit more interest. And then all I'm going to do is just kind of blow in the center and blow out. Now there's a big amount of white in the middle, and to get rid of that, you just kind of blow extra hard on it and it'll push it down, and the other colors will pop up over it. Love these two little spots right here. What I'm doing here is kind of making it go in a circle and make a round. Like you can see the parts that I blew out kind of curving. Now that is not what I was after, but I'm not mad at it. When this dries, it might be very awesome, although I do see I didn't get it off. I'm just going to touch these up. I didn't get it quite off the edges here, but I can just touch these up. One thing you can do if you're trying to stretch paint is pour it in the dry areas, and it will help the paint do what we call running. And that's what I did right there for the edge. I actually think I like this. Let me just touch up the sides here. Basically what you do when you touch up the sides is you just swoop in your painting and your paint, get a lot on your finger and just dab it on. And when it dries, it typically looks nice. Being that I had painted on this already, the base of blue was there, so I don't need to touch all of it up really well. So it'll dry smooth. It looks a little rough, but it dries smooth. My only concern is getting really the white canvas part covered up. That's my main concern. Typically you want to just scoop the paint under the part where you are touching up, but I'm trying to get this side. I want it a little more solid. Alright, well, this is it wet. Let's see it dry. Alright, so here is the finished painting, of course, before being varnished. Some of the stuff I really like about this is the lacing. Like you can see this yellow lacing through the purple. Even though we swiped it with that white paint, the aspect of using the Australian Floetrol makes it drag that color through and turn that lacing into that color. These colors, of course, very strongly remind me of my mom, as that is who I was painting this for. And so therefore it makes it a little positive and makes me happy to see it. The center, I kind of like how it turned out, because if you remember, I wasn't super fond of it while I was making it, but I twisted it in a circle a few times and kind of gave it this pinwheel-like style. And then my final thought is I really like the silver that shines through in the different spots because it gives it a little shimmer. Bye!